Listen, I'm not sure you understand. We don't and never will provide lip service to our brothers and sisters. This is not a fluffy or a so cute kind of podcast. No, we are five veterans committed to the truth at any cost. If it's not the truth, you won't hear it here. And you know what? You might not like what you hear, but we really don't care. It'll be the truth. Our mission is to help you find the answers you're looking for on veterans issues. Our mission is also accountability. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Minnesota American Legion Patriots podcast. I'm Mike Perry, your host, along with my co-host over here, James Holgren. He doesn't say much, but he controls everything that's happening. So, welcome. We have a guest today that I just have to do this. I have to do this. He is such a bright personality. I should be wearing shades during the whole show. I want to introduce Mike Ash. He's the chairman of the Minnesota Department of American Legion Training Committee. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it very much.
So we're going to start out this real quick because I don't want you to forget their names. But do you remember everybody's name that's on your committee?
You know, I do. I was going to write it down on a list, and I forgot to do
that. I could give you the initials of everyone.
Well, there you go. Well, we've got a couple of Joes. We have Joe Bear. We have Joe Painter. We've got Kelly Adelsman, who's currently the department chaplain. We have Paul Edwards, who is a genius at writing resolutions. And let's see, I know I'm missing.
How about Gary?
We have our newest member is Gary Richardson, who happens to be the commander for the 7th District, I think. And we also have two members that are currently out of pocket, as it were. They happen to be serving as the department commander and the department membership chairman. That would be Jennifer Havlick and Linda Dvorak. Okay. They're both members, whether they like it or not. Whether they're going to be filling dual roles, and they will. They obviously are right there with us, and they continue to do a great job helping us.
Super. Let's talk about Mike Ash. For those people that have never heard of you before, and I'm sure there's some out there.
I'm sure.
It would be hard to find, but give us a little background about your history.
Well, born right here in St. Paul. Joined the Air Force in 1972. Retired in 1993. Started working for the Minneapolis Public Schools in the finance department, in various departments of finance, and retired from there in 2018. Okay. And now I'm just continuing to do the Legion's business. And as far as the Legion goes, I've held various officer positions, including department commander, and I sit on the Media and Communications committee at the national level.
Oh, nice. Let's talk about what in the world is the training committee.
Well, the training committee was established about 4 years ago. Training had been delegated to the post revitalization committee prior to that, and they were tasked to do an annual training once a year, and they did that fairly well, but then it started dropping off some. So we established the Education and Training Committee, and that didn't last too long either. So we put together this training committee because we felt that's what we could use to train our members the best, because we felt training was very important and it just wasn't being done. So that's what we did. We started talking to different members, trying to find out what their strengths were, so that we could use them as trainers. And for the last 3 years, along with training just different districts and posts, we've held Minnesota American Legion College up at Camp Ripley every year. And that's gone extremely well. Everybody who's gone to that has come back.
It is. It's a very good training weekend, I would say. And I went to it. I learned a lot, by the way. And everybody thinks they know a lot about a topic. I thought I knew a lot about the American Legion, and was I surprised at the things that I learned. But as far as training is concerned, it's gone from maybe an annual thing to more often than not, you're putting more training sessions on throughout the year based on some of the district's needs and the post needs.
Right. What we've done is, and in every Legionnaire, which is the monthly paper that goes out, monthly newsletter that goes out from the department, we've asked post members if they want training to let us know. We'll train them in absolutely any area that has anything to do with the American Legion. That's not only the specifics like the officers' roles and how to run a meeting and parliamentary procedure, but we'll also train them on things such as mentorship and leadership, something that everybody can use because in the American Legion we need to have everybody understand that everybody's a leader, and it doesn't matter whether you're a member of a committee, whether you're chairman of a committee, whether you're department commander. Everybody, every single member is a leader, and if we can put forth some information to those people and find what their skill set is, we think that we can have a much better organization.
Mm-hmm. So, talk to me a little bit about some of the different aspects that you train on. Do you train on legislative? Do you train on, for an example, Paul Edwards
Mm-hmm.
does a fine job in helping write resolutions.
Right. He's excellent at writing resolutions. He's got a perfect lesson plan down, and it seems to work every time. What we've really done now is we've stepped that up. Before we used to have, after Paul would begin his teaching of resolutions, we'd break the class up into groups. They'd go back to their pods and they would sit there and they'd come up with resolutions, actual live resolutions that have gone all the way to the national uh, executive committee to be and national convention to be passed. But what we're going to do now is once he gives those, we're before the class even begins, when we send out the initial information to let them know here's what's going to happen, here's when we're going to meet. We're going to let them know we're going to talk about resolutions
Mm-hmm.
because unless you think everything is perfect
Right.
in the American Legion, I haven't found anybody that thinks that yet. But it's amazing that every year, even though people like to complain and bellyache about different things that are wrong with the American Legion, you get very few resolutions, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the resolutions are just nothing. So if you think there's something wrong with the way the American Legion is being run, one of the programs, you think there should be a different program, um, you have a special thought on suicide prevention, legislative action, anything, then we need to do resolutions to make sure that we change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, uh, let's take a look at some of the things that you have to do as chairman. Duties. What is it that you have to facilitate?
Well, some of my duties include that's the one pile of notes that I covered up because I didn't think I was going to talk about that. No, the our committee chair is selected by the committee,
Mm-hmm.
and usually it's the one who can't run fast enough.
Isn't that
and
the truth?
and then when I talk about saying, well, we should have a different committee chairman, they all go, well, you're doing such a fine job. Yeah, okay, I get that. But what we do is we make suggestions to the commander every year, saying that we ought to add, we're going to need a different committee member, uh, such as we did this year when we lost quote unquote lost uh, Commander Jennifer and Membership Director Linda to the department, we said, well, we're going to have to get a new member, and Gary Richardson was one of our was one of the members of the college, and he said he'd love to step forward and do that. So we talked to him, did a very light interview process, and now he's on board and he's ready to rock and roll. He's going to be teaching up at the department fall conference in a couple of weeks, and that's one of the places we've stretched out to is going up there. Um, but along with that, I conduct meetings monthly with our committee, um, more often if necessary, but monthly usually seems to do it. And we go over what's changed, what we should do, the upcoming American Legion College, what we should do as far as that goes. Um, I also receive when somebody applies for the National American Legion College, we get those. We help the adjutant figure out which one they should send. We kind of put them in numerical order and say, this one looks the best suited, and we go from that point there too. We also put together a plan to evaluate what training events we should do during the year. So far this year, we've covered the 4th and 5th district. We did a training session there. Just this last Saturday, they did a training session up in the 6th and 9th district. Joe Bear did that along with Tim Haugen, who is not a member of the team, but we needed to have someone do mylegion.org training. So
Sure.
Tim was good enough to say that he thinks he knew enough about the program, and our two experts, who happen to be the commander and the membership director, they said yes, he does in fact have his stuff together for that. So he taught a couple hours of that. Unfortunately, he had to leave early, but Joe Bear took over and he trained several other areas after that in the afternoon.
Are there specific training pods that you use? So say you have a district or a post, say, I'd like to learn more about mylegion.org, but I'd also like to learn about, how to run a meeting. So do you have certain areas that are just focused on one thing at a time?
We do that. we try not to. We try to make each area specific to the nature of the beast, and we conduct such things as recruiting and retention, buddy checks, conducting meetings, and the conducting meetings is probably the one that is got the most together. It's got protocol, parliamentary rules
Sure.
and procedures. Um, but then we talk about Legion programs. That was one of the things Joe did this last week. He taught Legion programs up there. The 4 pillars. And usually, if we do mylegion.org, we try to keep those things in a specific box. We try to keep them not jammed together with anything else, because when they want to know about mylegion.org, that's what they want to know about. And the same with just about everything that we teach. We want to keep it as centered as possible on a specific subject, so that if people have questions at the end, and they always do, that we can focus on answering those questions and getting them up to speed on that. And as with all of our training, at the end, we always ask for comments, suggestions, what we did wrong, what we did right, what we can do better, because we think that's important for us to keep improving and changing this. Because if you came to a mylegion.org training one week, you might come the next week and you'd go, wow, you didn't talk about that last time. And that would be true, because we're trying to improve every time we
Sure.
give a presentation.
Sure. So with the fact that I know there's Legion College, people travel up to Camp Ripley, but is there a way that the training committee, here's an example. Say Post 228, my home post in Waseca, Minnesota, would like to have officers training, but yet we can only get them together in Waseca. Is there a way that you make an in-person training visit, or do do that by technology using Zoom? How do you handle requests like that?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
We can do it either way. We'd be more than happy if you can give us enough lead time so that we can put together a training committee or a couple of trainers. We'll be more than happy to come down to Waseca and train you. We can also do via Zoom. We can also do different uh, training segments where we record our different
Oh, sure.
programs and get them to you so that people can look at them as they wish. So, but
Oh.
whatever fits the post the best or the district,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they want to be trained on, we ask them to just let us know what the best way is to do that, and we'll do whatever we can to accommodate.
Mm-hmm. How important do you feel training is and for the Legionnaire that's out there?
I think it's absolutely uh, there's no substitute for it. Training is the focus of any successful organization. If you don't have training, then you're going to have inconsistent results.
Mhm.
If you have training, you're going to have people that can do the same thing the same way every time, and that's what you need to do. Saying that, it doesn't fall anywhere near what you think of as this is the way we've always done it. That's a whole different subject. But
Oh,
because-
have we heard that many, many times?
We've
Yes.
heard that way too many times. But we feel that the effective training leads to increased program participation. That is that if we train them on a specific subject that they may not even think of or know of, or they've just heard of, hopefully they can step into a new role and get out there and that's what we need. We need new people. We need not just younger people, but we need new people stepping up and doing the job that we've had people doing way too many years, and they're doing a fantastic job. But you've got to have what I put together as a presentation called COOP, and that is continuity of operations plan. That's where we're not, believe it or not, we're not all going to live forever.
Right.
That is kind of a fact that we have to come to grips with eventually, and we all lose a little bit on our up and giddy up, and therefore I think that we really need to look at each other and say, you know, let's have somebody to step in. We need to have a backup. I've always preached that regardless of the position, if it's a one-person committee, they should have a vice person or an assistant or whatever you want to call them, because you need those people to back up and you need those people to take over at some point. So we think that's one of the most important things about training is that you're going to get like Legion College, you can get a little bit about everything as much as we can. And I didn't realize it until I actually wrote down, we cram a lot into Legion College.
Oh, yes, you do.
A
Oh,
lot of
yes.
stuff. And in 4 days, you learn an awful lot. But again, we try to improve the membership acquisition and retention. We are continually told, you know, if one member would recruit one member, then, well, if frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their butts on lily pads. We know the if factor, okay?
Sure.
But we need to make sure that everybody knows how to recruit. And that's just part of the equation. And once they're recruited, we need to have them retain them.
Sure.
And so those are two things we try to put together in our presentation, saying, here's how you recruit them, here's how you keep them. Because if you recruit somebody and you don't talk to them until their dues are due the following year, then you're probably not going to be talking to them too long.
Right. Did you write that down, James? That's a quote I think that should be on all, something about if frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their butts on lily pads.
I think it's definitely a T-shirt we need to make.
T-shirt. I see a T-shirt in the works. I really do.
It could be a post T-shirt. It can be a district. I mean,
Right,
somewhere.
right. What a training. quote. Yes, exactly. So, Mike, we've been talking here on the Patriots podcast with Chairman of the Minnesota American Legion Training Committee, Mike Ash. Mike, what else is it you want to tell the folks out there before we wrap this up?
Well, just want to let everybody know that along with the specific things that apply to the Legion, we also teach some general things such as leadership, mentorship, conflict resolution, fundraising, some things that might not apply to everyone. Obviously, the leadership applies to everyone, as does the mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
But conflict resolution is something that should be taught to every single member of the American Legion because we have a lot of conflict.
Yes, we do. It's a
And,
big family, Mike.
It's a big family, and it's a big family that didn't get along so well sometimes.
Yeah.
But we absolutely need to do that as well. But other than that, I definitely would be remiss if I didn't mention the Minnesota American Legion College Training Days this year.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Like I said, for the last 3 years, we've had a very successful. They start on Thursday evening where we have a kind of a meet and greet, and then we go into the training on Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday we wrap it up and give out diplomas, and everybody's gone about noon. But we've done that once a year in April, every year. But this year, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it twice.
Twice, okay.
Yes, because we are just
Having a lot of applicants, I hear.
well, we hope that there's going to be a lot of applicants. That's why, and we're gonna try to keep the class at 18 because we think that's a manageable number, and that's where we can give the most bang for the buck. It's $200. Usually we have the poster of the district. We tell them to get the poster of the district to pay for it because they're the ones that are going to be reaping the rewards of
Right.
them going. It's going to be April 20th, which is a Thursday, through Sunday the 23rd. And it's going to be October 12th, which is a Thursday, through Sunday the 15th. And they're at Camp Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the applications online at mnlegion.org. And we ask that you do that as soon as possible for a couple of reasons. Set your calendars. If you apply now and clear your calendar for those 4 days, then it's a lot better
Oh, sure.
better chance of getting it, especially if you're working and you need to put in for that vacation, a vacation day or two. So that's what we're asking you to do. If we can get members to get online, please sign up. We've got people already in the mill. They've already signed up. They're already coming. And like I said, we're trying to keep an 18 per class, so please do that as soon as possible so that we can get you on board, and we'll start your training early if you want. We'll start tomorrow if you'd like. So
Sure.
just give us a chance and let us know. We also ask all the posts and districts once again to, if you have any training you'd like to be conducted, go outside the box. You don't have to think about just specifics. If you see something wrong in your district, something wrong in your post that you think could be done better, please just let us know, and we'll do whatever we can to put together presentations to help you out, to get you over that hump and get you onto the road to success.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike, for
Thank
being
you.
here on the Patriots podcast. We've been speaking with the Minnesota American Legion training chairman, Mike Ash, here this week on the Patriots podcast. On behalf of James Hulkran, my co-host, I'm Mike Perry. Until next week, be the one.